Hello, race fans. Welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcast. Here tonight, we have the ARCA Evolution Series from the Evolution Racing League. Here taking on Indy for the Great 38 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in the ARCA Series. But I want to give a special shout to all the sponsors who help make it happen here at the Evolution Racing Leagues. And first up, we have Nissan Central, the leading Nissan dealership in Oklahoma City. Make sure you go check them out at www.ornissancentral.com. And tell them that Freaky Fast sent you. Next, we have Sheffield Graphics, the leading designer in sim racing paint schemes and liveries. It was founded by a Navy veteran, and a portion of every paint goes to the Military Foundation's Folds of Honor. It's a great nonprofit organization who gives sponsorship to the families of fallen soldiers and disabled veterans. Make sure to go check them out on Facebook under Sheffield Graphics and tell them Freaky Fast sent you. Next, our proud sponsor here is ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car, from ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving physical mass instead of in the air, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful base response, and it's all perfectly synced with every game with no additional software required. So make sure you go to buttkicker.com and you can feel what you've been missing and check out their Gamer 2. You can also use our promo code of FreakyFast20. And that is Freaky Fast with 2 E's in the Freaky to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. And that lets them know that we sent you there. So thank you to everybody there at ButtKicker for being a proud partner, not only here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, but also the Evolution Racing Leagues. Thank you to those proud partners here. But we're about to get the racing action kicking off here tonight. I'm Zach Hall in the booth. Alongside me will be Brandon Colley. And Brandon, we already got him on the grid here as Chris Morrow is going to bring home that Sheffield Graphics pole. We're going to go through our grid here so we can get a talk with him right before this race. So first on pole there, bring home that Sheffield Graphics pole award is Christopher Morrow. Second's going to go to Matt Oakbrook. Third, David Edwards. Fourth's going to go to Jeff Carson. Fifth's going to be Justin Malarkey. Sixth's going to be Harold Rothery. Seventh, Justin Hendry. Eighth is Stephen Carey. Ninth, Jake Ashay. And 10th is going to be James Wright.
Brandon Perry going to be rolling off in the 11th spot. Zach Sandlin in 12th. Matthew Dude 13th. Kevin Ruff 14th. Richard Gonzalez 15th. Stephen Rasick 16th. And Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. in 17th position to round out the field.
And that's just starting grid here for the ARCA Evolution Series. As there you see Christopher Morrow, in second place in points. They're starting from that first position. Let's bring him down here from MR73 Racing and hear what he has to say after sitting on that Sheffield Graphics pole.
Hey Chris, Brandon up in the booth, you got a copy?
Hey, good copy. How are you doing tonight?
Can't complain, Chris. I imagine doing pretty well yourself, snagging the Sheffield Graphics pole award here at Indy. Well, I got to ask you, man, how are these cars feeling out here tonight? What's the balance like? How bad are the tires wearing? And how worried are you about the points leader that you're trying to gain on starting right behind you on the grid?
Well, I'm always worried about the points leader right behind me. Try to keep him there best I can, but he's wicked quick, so see what we can do. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a fun race. I say that now. I'm sure maybe by the end of this I'll change my mind, but this is a fun combo. I don't know. I think I've done ARCA cars at Indy before, but just the way that you have to really, it's like kind of like a mix. I was trying to think of what would be the equivalent. Maybe like a turn 2 at Pocono that's 90 degrees, but you really have to pick where you're going to let off the gas, and then the throttle control on exit is all the difference in the world. I think you're going to see a lot of cars, hopefully not mine, into the walls there, just because it is a tough balancing act. But it's still a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of guys wheeling their cars tonight, and hopefully we can just maintain our position.
Well, we see that you guys have the limited fuel load in the cars tonight. Any idea what we could expect for a fuel window here tonight? Probably thinking somewhere around 15, but not exactly sure if you guys maybe done the research on that just yet.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I think we were looking at, we did it really quick. It was 0.52 gallons per lap, and I think we're sitting just over 10 gallons. So it might be around closer to 20, but yeah, we're going to definitely one stop, and we're also on one set of tires, which I think, to your point, you're asking about tire wear. That's also going to be an important point, and not using those up too early. and whoever's got the better tires at the ends may ultimately be the one to win it.
Oh man, wish you the best of luck as you guys are getting ready to go through 3 and 4 here to start this thing off, and try to keep the car clean and be watching up here from the booth. Maybe get to kiss the bricks at the end of this thing.
Absolutely looking forward to it. We'll see you guys then, hopefully.
All right, there you heard from Chris Moreau, our Sheffield Graphics pole setter tonight here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I gotta just echo something he said. This combination here should be very fantastic. These cars, not a lot of grip on this high-speed flat bank racetrack. These guys are gonna be slipping and sliding around here, trying to get everything out of these ARCA cars here in iRacing service. But man, what a night here for the ARCA Evolution Series. We're gonna bring off the pace car and get ready to bring them green flag racing as they come down to the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. Chris Moreau off and away, your Sheffield Graphics pole setter. Down to turn 1. Dead heat between him and the 16 of Matt Ulbrook. Looks like Carson trying to use that outside line to possibly take third from David Edwards, but looks like Moreau going to make the move out of turn 1 and make the pass down into 2 as he clears the battle for third unsuits.
Yeah, not a very comfortable position to be in here side by side at Indy. The track looks a lot wider than it feels in the car, especially on cold tires, I can promise you that. And you just see the gap that Matt Ulbrook and Chris Moreau have been able to pull out just because David Edwards and Jeff Carson are side by side.
Yeah, just look at that gap as they enter 3. Looks like David Edwards will finally clear for third there, as now Carson going to try to clear Justin Malarkey in that 73 off of 4, and it's single file now back all the way throughout this whole entire field as they come off of 4 with Chris Moreau going to be looking at the first lap of the race.
Looks like back for about the 7th and 8th position, Stephen Carey looking to make the move to the inside of Harold Rothery. Harold going to give way and allow that pass to happen here, staying out of trouble early on, and that's kind of what you have to do. It's not going to get you very far battling guys. Got to kind of, if a guy gets here inside and gets a good run, you just got to let him go and try to take care of your stuff and get those positions back later on as the run goes on. Both of you battling, it's only going to slow you down, and it's only going to wear your tires out more.
Yeah, side by side like that would definitely wear the tires out there, Brandon. And this track, we heard it from school. He said the tires would be so important. This 2.5-mile racetrack, man, it just seems to eat the tires away. It really becomes a track where if you can save your stuff, it seems like you can really go forward near the end. I wonder how much dirty air will play effect. These ARCA cars seem to have a lot less dirty air effect than the the trucks, the Xfinity, and the Cup cars that we have now in the current generation. These older cars seem to be able to follow a little better. So possibly following from that Ulbrook in a second. I don't know if they're burning the tires up too much. The tires are going to be critical here at this 2.5-mile racetrack.
Absolutely. I would imagine that dirty air, like you said, not going to be as big a factor as we're used to seeing, but definitely going to have to worry about the tire wear. Because these cars, they don't have the dirty air that we're used to seeing, but they also don't have the amount of grip that we're used to seeing, especially out of cars like the Cup car that we're going to be seeing a little bit later on here at Indy. So they're going to have to worry a lot more about when they're getting out of the throttle for these corners and making sure they're slowed down enough. Because you go through these corners a little bit too hot just a couple times, and all your grip is completely gone. These tires are way too overheated, and it takes a while to cool them back down.
Yeah, that's the weird thing that we see with this tire model, in my opinion, too, Brandon, is the tire temperature battle you have as a driver. You can really get a lot out of the tires, heat them up a lot, but it's hard to bring them back down temperature-wise because they're already so slick and worn out that you start to really even get worse as that temperature builds up more and more. So as a driver, Brandon, how do these guys out here manage something like that? How do you use your tire to be able to get by someone, because you're going to have to overheat your stuff at some point. But how do you bring it back down to that level without, overstepping?
You just have to back it off a slight bit each and every corner and just be consistent with it. You can't afford to back out too much because then you're just giving up time. You're opening yourself up. Essentially, you pass for free. But if you try to keep driving it in the same, then it's just going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. It's just backing it up that extra car length, 2 car lengths every corner, making sure you're rolling, waiting maybe a little bit longer than you would necessarily think to get back to the throttle, and just let the tire every lap slightly cooler. And also things you can do is run outside the groove down the straightaways, find the cooler bits of the track, It's not going to help you tremendously, but it is that little bit extra having cooler track surface to help these tires cool off a little bit more.
You know, that's something I didn't even think about. Brandon is running at a different spot of the track there to, to get that cooler surface. So that's a very good point that iRacing has that. You know, our track surface does heat up with these drivers riding on it. So being able to go offline like that could possibly definitely bring some cool to it. Another thing I like to do, Brandon, is I try to have my tire sounds way louder than my engine sounds. You know, the engine in these cars is very loud, and with iRacing, we do have the ability to edit, sounds and stuff like that give us the chance to be able to hear stuff better or hear certain things, and that's one thing we can do. And hearing those tires are very critical. Those things will talk to you, and if you ain't listening to them, they will very easily quit talking to you and put yourself in the wall. So you got to be careful with that. But looking back right now, Malarkey was able to make a pass to move up into fourth, as Carson now trying to hold on in that 81 as Stephen Carey now gets by him down the long back straightaway. So Carson was fighting with David Edwards for that third spot in that 15, and now in that 81 starting to slip back. It's looking like Jeff Carson, one of the drivers who really seems to come on as the long run goes, maybe saving his stuff or possibly falling back here in the early run.
Looked like going into turn one last time, Zach, Jeff Carson got a little bit into the fence trying to really open up his corner entry there. You see everybody kind of swing out to the wall right before they make their turn back in. Looked like Jeff swung out just a little bit too wide there. No significant damage, just a loss of momentum there for Jeff Carson in the 81.
Yeah, looks clean to me there on the side of the 81. Definitely just a little bit of a scare, I would say, for him, as he's got Justin Hendry there, the 28, not too far behind, with Harold Rothery. Those two in somewhat of a pack. Then back to ninth, it would be Jake Cachet in the 77. He's got someone a gap in front of him and behind, back to Matthew Dude in that 10th spot, and that's going to round out your top 10 at the moment here. 7 laps into this first run here for the ARCA Evolution Series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This place here, Brandon, I don't know what it is. Every time I broadcast a race here, some people think this track is boring, but I don't know what it is about this place. It just gives me a little bit more energy. I guess it's just the past here, maybe.
It's definitely a lot of history. You can't think of meaningful tracks in motorsports without Indianapolis Motor Speedway being on that list. And like you said, some people love this track. It's super fun to be here, and and there's other people that I'm just like, it's Indy. On the track, it can get pretty tedious and boring. It gets pretty monotonous as well. Especially when you get spread out like this, you're not really battling with anybody. You're just turning laps. But from a strategy standpoint, there's a lot you can do at Indy. It always seems to come down to fuel for some reason anytime that I've done a race here. So I've always enjoyed that about racing here and call and broadcast here especially. There's just always stuff to talk about. Even if guys are all spread out, there's always the strategy talk that you're going to have to be thinking about.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about strategy talk there. It seems like fuel mileage always does have some type of factor in this 2.5 mile racetrack. I mean, kind of makes sense, it being so long, so much time on the throttle with long straightaways like this. You could possibly save a lot in these flat corners here. Carson's trying to get back by Carey. He's going to have a run out of 2 here, try to get to that quarter panel of that 83 there and maybe pull him back. Yes, he does there. Pull even now on the straightaway. Looks like this will be a nice and easy pass back to the top 5 for the 81 Jeff Carson. Maybe possibly saving some. This is a track, like I said, you can definitely save some tire. And, back to the point about the whole track with, some drivers really enjoy this track. They take up the challenge and say, this is a place where stock cars shouldn't be. So I'm going to challenge myself to, be good at a place that's awkward as a Carson now with the big run of Malarkey. He's definitely going forward now. Back to that 4th starting position where he started down in the 1. Oh, he misses the corner. Slides up the racetrack. Oh, you're seeing the slip and slide here already here on lap 10. Carson's going to lose position to Carey now. That hurt Malarkey almost worse than it hurt him.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful about not overdriving these corners. Talked about stock cars aren't really meant to be here. This is an open wheel track designed for open wheel cars, and these things just so heavy and the banking so little in these corners. These cars just don't have a lot of grip. They do not get around here very well, and that's why you get the tire wear that you do. But if you go into the corner too hot, that's exactly what's going to happen every single time. You're just not going to be able to keep the car pinned down to the apron there, wash out, and sometimes might even catch the fence, just trying to keep so much wheel into it, roll over the sidewall of the tire there. Great job from Jeff Carson to slow it down and recognize the problem as early as he did there. Really only lost to one position, but definitely overheating that right front in the process. And you can see this group of 3 cars all wiggling going through turn 1. See if any significant wiggles out of turn 2 here. That looked pretty stable.
Yeah, it looks pretty stable. Right now, it's it's definitely. I feel like they're getting a little bit of a push loose condition from the way the noses look of these cars. As now Malarkey going to use that advantage as Carson's been trying to get by Carey. Lets Malarkey get back by now to slide back up into 5th. So these all 4 guys here battling hard as Justin Hendry's now caught up to them in the 28 machine. So he's definitely doing great. But 73 here to the inside of Carey. So what a pass. Now looking back here, look at this, Brandon. 21 of Brandon Perry. I believe he is a new driver here in the ARCA series, I believe. So welcome to Brandon Perry and the 21, and good to have him out here running 13th right now, started in 11th, so has lost 2 spots. But right now got a clean race car, and that's a great way to start off your debut here in the ARCA Evolution series.
If you may be struggling on pace a little bit, a good sense of pride, be able to come out of here with a clean race car. It's not an easy place to get around, and just being able to turn even 38 laps here at Indianapolis without getting a wrinkle on the fender, that's a pretty good accomplishment. Can't say that I've had too many races here being able to avoid incidents. It's just so difficult to keep on that razor's edge of control and loss of control, especially the way these corners are. And something we haven't talked about yet, the apron in the corners, that white line. You see a couple guys sticking their left front down there, definitely going to help the turn, but do that too many times, that right rear is going to start getting warm, and those wiggles are going to start to add up. And just like that, it was right ahead of him. Looked like Zach Sandlin, who is 2 laps down in 15th. A little bit of a wiggle up into the wall out of turn 4 as well.
Yeah, that white line there, you brought up a great point. That white line is can be a driver's friend or a driver's worst nightmare here at Indy. You have that curb directly underneath that white line with about 1.5 foot of space there, maybe 2 foot. And if you get that curb, you want to get as low as possible there under that white line, just to give you the most amount of turn right there that can hit that apex in the corner. It just seems like the most grip is right there. But if you do get that curb, you are going to either be shot straight up the racetrack or be going around. It really upsets the balance of the race car, and these drivers are going to have to tiptoe that area. You're going to see some guys take a little bit of a wider arc on this around the corner. It definitely is a longer way around. It can be a little bit better on the tires too, but it's definitely interesting lines here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. With the Indy 500 coming up, I believe this upcoming weekend too. This is a pretty great time for these guys to be hitting Indy.
Yeah, and speaking of the Indy 500, talking about that, the flat there on the apron and that curb, ran an Indy 500 last year and was doing just like you said, getting down there close to the apron as possible. I got down there a little bit too far, hit that curb one time and died. So definitely do not want to hit that curb whatsoever. And those open wheels got a significant amount of grip more compared to what these stock cars do. So it's only going to be worse if you manage to hit that curb with these big clunky stock cars.
Yeah, it definitely, it's a different feeling, I would say, more than anything. With the stock car, you hit that thing, man, and it literally, it feels like the tire lifts off the ground, and you just go straight, or it just puts all that low on the right rear. Is David Edwards, he's getting everything out of 15, and man, he's actually flying right now compared to our leader of Christian Roll, about 0.2 quicker that last time by, and has made up about a second in the last few laps. But back to that point there, Brandon, these cars, it's going to be definitely of a more slow transition. It's something maybe you could catch, but it could also end up very bad. Those open wheel cars, man, those things happen in a blink of an eye, and it's almost impossible to catch once they're sideways.
Oh yes, there's these things are a lot heavier and a lot slower, but they respond a lot slower as well. The cars transition when it gets loose and tight. A lot of times it's a lot slower. There are times where it's just all of a sudden gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, those open wheel cars, I tell you, when that thing killed me, it was, I blinked and I didn't know where I was anymore. So it happens pretty quickly. I got to give a shout out, Zach, to Matt Upbrook.
Yes.
Out here running second. He was chasing down Chris Roll for quite a long while. fallen off just a little bit here, but still pretty solid second place. Decent gap to his teammate David Edwards, who, like you said, now putting down some pretty significant lap times. Last time by, 2/10 slower than Chris Merle, but the time before that looking about 2/10 quicker. So it's kind of going back and forth here, but only a 10th quicker than Matt Upbrook in that second position. So, you know, again, tip of the cap to Matt Upbrook. Hopefully he can pull this one together here for a solid day.
Yeah, you see the battle still going on for that fourth position. Stephen Carey, Justin Malarkey, Jeff Carson. Those three, they've pretty much become, you know, three cars that just have stuck together this whole entire first run here as we're hitting lap 17. So remember that lap 20 mark is going to most likely be the area where these drivers are hitting pit road. Maybe lap 19, just to make that perfect split down the middle here for these guys. But man, ooh. Big moment there. Yeah. Oh, that could have been bad. It looks like it's tight, but at the same time, they can get a little bit loose. It's got to be that push-loose condition that these guys are fighting, Brandon.
It's just trying to carry a lot of speed and a lot of wheel out of the corner there, and it just does not want to turn, snaps out, and you just got to try to save it there. And that was extremely fortunate for both Justin Malarkey and Stephen Carey about getting wadded up here. I know Stephen Carey in the car is going, oh, jeez. And yep, coming in. Yeah, I need to change the driver's suit.
And that's Carey. Stephen Carey going to come down here on lap number 17. So that's somewhat of an early stop in my opinion. With 21 to go here. He's going to have to go 21 laps. He should be able to do that, but it's definitely going to put it in the range of being pretty close. For that 83, I would say that's the earliest you're going to be able to pit and make it here for these guys. But he'll be the first to hit pit road in that 83 as he'll try to undercut the guys ahead of him. But, man, back to Matt Upbrook. I completely forgot what I was going to say about him. Now I remembered, actually. All right. So, man, got to give him a shout like he said, because back at Pocono, he ran in the top 3 there. Also, this track carrying over from Pocono here to Indy, I think that's a good sign for him, you know. And then even Michigan coming up. Oh! No.
Uncharacteristic mistake out of Christopher Sproul getting on the pit road.
Oh, that was a wheel hopper. Oh, man, we're going to have to go back on the replay here, guys. That was a big moment for our race leader right here before pit stops ensue. Man, oh man, the 14 Chris Moreau going to be kicking himself after this one, coming off a 4 here. You're going to see the 14 nice and low. He's going to be getting ready for a pit stop here. Keep this car nice and pinched down. Here he is, starting to come down the pit road. This pit road, one of the hardest pit roads to get onto in all of NASCAR. It's such a hard stop for these stock cars. And then you're going to see he's downshifted through the gears. I think he might have hit the wrong gear there. Sends that car into a wheel hopping sensation, and he spins that thing, locks it up, luckily keeping it out of the path of Matt Upbrook and David Edwards as they come down the racetrack. But, man, big moment there for the leader. Looks like he's going to be all the way back to about, I believe, the 4th position once we come to pit road.
And I'm wondering if maybe he might end up with a penalty for the unsafe entry there, going toward the pit entry after the cone, but decided to stay back out. We'll have to see if that happens. But also, Stephen Carey just pit before this happened here. Going to cycle to the lead. Should not be coming down pit road for any reason, I would imagine. So it looks like the 83 is Stephen Carey going to cycle to the front. May have heard his strategy, but he's going to get a lot of track position because of it.
I think I think the leader of 14, Christopher Sproul there in 4th now. I think he should be all right with the penalty there, guys. As I believe in the stock cars here, that cone is actually not the actual speed limit line. I believe it doesn't start till after the wall here for these stock cars, and so I believe he should be all right here as he'll come in 4th. So he will lose some track position. Here is Upbrook now going to be in position, I believe, with this lead here if he can get a nice clean pit stop. Oh, looks like Edwards gets the better launch. David Edwards, your points leader, looking for momentum to build up before he goes into the playoffs. He's going to win the race off of pit road, but he's not going to be the leader, I believe, because Stephen Carey and James Wright, both of those drivers, James Wright 3 laps down, sorry, but Stephen Carey will be the race leader as he was able to pull the old road course strategy, you know, pit as soon as you can make it. And this is the reason why you do, because you do not go a lap down. Now he has the track position, but with about 2 lap older tires.
Well, I think the good news there for Stephen Carey is it's probably only going to be about a lap on at speed on these tires. Not too much time to get them up to temp. Shouldn't wear too much here, and then with the immediate caution, getting it right cooled back down again. The only thing that I can think of this being a disadvantage for Stephen Carey is he didn't really seem to have the pace to catch the guys that were running, you know, the top 3 ahead of him. They're able to battle pretty hard for that 4th position, but not quite enough to really make grounds on the top 3. So going to have to figure out where he's lacking on speed, what he can do differently, but also he's going to have a little bit less fuel. And as the run goes on, once we get toward the end of the fuel run, he's going to be a little bit more on the tight side because of that. But also something we talked about with his strategy, that he was pitting right at the very, very edge of where you could possibly make it. This caution pretty much guarantees that he's going to be able to make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, this caution definitely will help that cause there, Brandon. But the other thing he's got to worry about is a green-white checkered, possibly. You know, with the green-white checkered, he could definitely be in the range of possibly, you know, sputtering to the end there. So we'll have to see. But he's got track position now. He's been pretty quick. I mean, he started 8th and drove all the way into the top 5. So we got to give him credit there. And if he can get out front here in this 83, use the track position to his advantage, he may come in with a top 3, maybe a good top 5.
Yeah, it's definitely a good strategy call for him, and it ended up working out maybe not as he intended to get himself that track position, but the track position has come to him. And now it's, you know, maybe if you don't have the speed, make these guys really have to burn their stuff up to pass you, just be incredibly difficult to pass. And you could just end up staying up front, and just because of the fact that they've fallen off on pace, trying their hardest to get around you, you just can't make any mistake when you're having to drive like that, and you put yourself in that type of position. But it's also a good learning opportunity. Now that he's got these guys that he hasn't really been able to race too much with around him, he can see what they're doing and make those adjustments himself to find that little bit of pace that maybe he feels like he might be missing out on, and be able to contend with these guys up here.
Oh no, looks like I don't know if Upbrook had shut the car off, saving some fuel there, and not able to get back fired, but he does now as the 16 gets back going. A little bit of a checkup there. But man, David Edwards, though, he was looking pretty quick behind Upbrook and Smerol. Those 3, whoever gets out in front of those 3, it's going to be tough, man. So we'll have to see as the pace car is going to pull in this time by. We're going to go back green flag racing with 17 to go when we cross our finish line. Oh man, Carey off and away. He wastes no time as the green flag waves just now, and he's already up to speed. And at the line now, 17 to go. Big run swinging in from behind. Looks like Jeff Carson was slotting 4th. That puts Chris Smerol back to 5th. Can Smerol drive back to the lead? That's going to be the question for him. It's going to be a hard-fought battle these final 17 laps.
Yeah, unfortunately, not able to take advantage of the restart there. Caught sleeping just a little bit, and able to allow Jeff Carson to move to the inside. Now everybody's single file. Looks like Matt Upbrook now on the colder tires, struggling just a little bit. Got a little loose out of turn 2 here, falling into the clutches of the 81 of Jeff Carson. A slight gap between himself now and his teammate David Edwards. And Stephen Carey still got a pretty decent gap ahead of David Edwards here, about 0.4 of a second. See how that closes up throughout the next lap. It looks like pretty even run out of turn 4, Zach.
Lots of good runs out of 4 there, Brandon, for these drivers. It's going to be single file all the way back through this field as they all try to sort it out with 16 to go. I think 16 laps here is going to click off pretty quickly, so you're going to have to get stuff done if you want to go. If you're Chris Smerol, he's going to have to set up Jeff Carson pretty quickly. He cannot let David Edwards get by Carey and then have to pass Matt Upbrook. Oh, Jeff Carson, big moment off of 2. He's going to get sideways, lose a few positions. He's going to slot back now to that 6th position.
Yeah, it looks like I think the story of the race for Jeff Carson so far is just giving up a handful of positions due to slight driver error, but still contending up here just outside the top 5 now in the 6th position. Like I said, story of the race, been kind of up and down throughout the duration so far, but always seems to be able to race back and get those positions back. But now for the leads, David Edwards right on the back bumper of Stephen Carey. Stephen Carey trying to defend the inside going down in turn 1.
Yeah, if you're uprooking Smirol, this is what you want to see. You don't want to see David Edwards get by Carey without a fight, and he's definitely having a fight on his hands as Carey's making that car wide as possible, and he's definitely not giving him the bottom lane. He's going to let him try to drive around the outside, and this is what David Edwards is going to do. Does he have it? Look at that old school mellow yellow number 15 Lumina going down the back straightaway. It's got some horsepower, man.
It looked like just stalled out a little bit, but really sailed it off into turn 3, but washed out there center. See if Carey can get the run. Looks like David Edwards still going to be clear and covering off the nose now into turn 4. David Edwards making the outside work here in the early going of this tire run.
I tell you what, here comes, look at this teammate from Donkey Punch Racing, Matt Upbrook. This driver looking to get momentum back on his side. Remember, I said he got a top 3 at Pocono. Now here at Indy looking to run good again. And remember, he's top 3 in points also, so he's going to be a driver with a shot once these playoffs kick off in the next 2 weeks here at the ARCA Evolution Series.
And directly behind him, Christopher Smirol now right on in the tire tracks of Matt Upbrook. Matt Upbrook going to go down there to try to block the run, force Chris Smirol to go to the outside here. And they're slicing and dicing ahead of him here. Stephen Carey back underneath David Edwards now, going down into turn 3.
What a battle for this lead up front with 14 to go. Edwards thought he had it. Carey fights back. Oh, close racing there on the quarter bound. The 15 is going to clear the 83 here on the exit. Here comes the big run from the 16 to Upbrook as the 83 had to lift not to get to the side of that 15. Now Upbrook goes to the inside down the back straightaway. Or front straightaway.
And I think that's pretty telling right there, Zach, that David Edwards not pulling out a line to give draft help to his teammate. Maybe feeling like, hey, I need these guys to start battling. Maybe feeling like Matt Upbrook has a little bit more speed right now than he does as the leader. Wants to keep him back there battling, try to gain as much of a gap, but not really work out that well. Now Matt Upbrook into second place, looking to track down his teammate to potentially get his first win of the season.
You're riding on board with Chris Smirol. Remember, he was leading this race early, set on the pole, looked good coming down to his pit stop, and had a huge mistake. Now slots back in the 4th position.
Well, still really good track position, and honestly, it's not giving up that much time to our leader. It's just passing is so difficult here. Track position has always seemed to be the biggest factor when you come to Indy, and giving it up due to a driver mistake like that is probably one of the bigger mistakes that you can make, I think, out of any track you come to. You just can't afford to have anything cost you a lot of positions, especially when you've been leading essentially the whole race there. And we're pulling out a pretty significant gap. But the good news is that he didn't hurt the car, so still got plenty of speed in it. Now up to that 3rd position around Stephen Carey, looking to track down the 2 teammates, hoping they get battling pretty hard and open up the door for him. It's looking like Matthew Dude back here in the 9th position, making the pass on Harold Rothery. Coming out of turn 4, looks like Matthew Dude on the move. Steven Rasick looks like be our biggest mover in the 8th position, up 8 spots in that 8th position, having a pretty good race for himself as well. Guys, this battle in the front, it's kind of got everybody stacked up for about the top 5 or 6 cars, but toward the back, it's all single filed out.
That is correct, man. What great battle, and this is awesome to see Upbrook actually out here. Matt actually leading the race over his teammate, over 2 top really hard contenders of the season so far.
Zach, if you were talking, the thing has happened again.
Well, I was talking, but I forgot to mute my other microphone. But hey, Brandon, what I was saying is this: hey, we're still here. Anyways, you can hear me now, right, sir?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Okay, hey, Rob.
Hey, yeah, I forgot to unmute myself. Charming in here to take over while Zach Attack had to go take care of something. But what I was saying is all season, you have Chris and David there, really strong contenders all season, and to see Matt up here running, leading the race is awesome. I mean, he's got to give himself some props, if you ask me.
And it's something we've seemingly talked about each and every week is that Matt Upbrook has really picked up the pace as the season's gone on. Had really good qualifying results and showed a good amount of speed. Just hasn't been able to really close out the races very well and get those finishes that he's had the pace for. But now showing up at Indy, actually quite surprised. I was not expecting Matt Upbrook to really be up here now kind of dominating this race, and even the early part there, keeping in the tire tracks Chris Morrell for a very long time before he started to fall off just a little bit here. But now extending his lead over his teammate to 4/10, and it just continuing to grow this time by. Last time by, he was 3/10 quicker than his teammate in second place.
Yeah, I was just ready to say that, Brandon. 3/10 faster, and it looks like he's got something for two and a half mile tracks and above. Something maybe like a California. We've seen what he did at Pocono, and now we see him here at Indy. Do we got anything over 2 miles coming up in the schedule?
I would have to take a look at it. Not quite sure it offhand. I know in the playoffs they're definitely going back to Pocono. They may be going back to Michigan as well. So definitely going to have some tracks that seem to favor the 16 as the playoffs and the rest of the season goes on. And right now, still looking pretty good in the points, but definitely want to get that win just to lock you in. And not only just lock you in, but man, just finally getting that win, finally putting all those good runs together, and able to pull off a really good finish and bring home the one in the win column there for the 16. I'm sure if that happens, definitely going to be excited in that interview, and I'm sure teammate David Edwards, if we're able to talk to him at the end of this race, going to be equally as excited for his teammate.
Well, you do know this with David being his teammate was we're doing synchronized sliding coming out of turn 4 there. Do you think he's going to help Matt now and maybe try to hold off Chris for Matt to get this win, knowing what's at stake?
Well, I think we were seeing that exactly right there. David Edwards really driving his Chris Morrell very hard to benefit his teammate here. And that's unfortunately Chris Morrell going to have to figure out a way to deal with that. These teammates are going to kind of hold him up a little bit to benefit each other. But at the same time, last time by through turn 4, looked like David Edwards got into the wall on the exit. Doesn't look like anything substantial. But the tires are starting to give up here. We've only got about 5 laps to go in this race. So these guys are definitely feeling it now, just trying to stay out front. It was again, looked like David Edwards hitting the right front end of the wall on corner entry.
And I am back, guys. Sorry about that. Here's we coming to 6 to go. As man, what a battle between the teammates up front here. Smurl me trying to get by them two. You got Malarkey. I mean, literally the top 6 within 1.5 seconds right now, guys. That's what we have with 6 to go. Matt Upbrook looking for the win, and we head to Michigan next week. That would be, I mean, he could carry that momentum straight to there.
See, another that 2 mile track that Matt Upbrook seeming to be so good at. Having one right after this, if he can pull off a win here, and David Edwards now still blocking. It looks like Chris Morrell much better on the exits here. David Edwards struggling pretty well, but these guys, Indy snaking it down the backstretch, trying to set up turn 3. David Edwards again goes in to turn 3, too hot, opens up the door. Now Malarkey going to take advantage as well, as Chris Morrell able to take away that second position from the 15.
That was not an easy pass, and look here coming off the corner. Here comes David Edwards back fighting on the inside. Look at Justin Malarkey, Stephen Carey fighting also. Man, Indy putting on a show here with the ARCA cars now side by side. David Edwards has the inside in the preferred groove. Smurl drives in deep. Edwards gets the grass. Smurl makes the pass. Now holding on to second. The battle for third heats up. Carey here on the older tires trying to get back into the top 3 position.
And I can tell you, Matt Upbrook in the lead is saying right now, you guys sort it out. Do not wreck. I do not want to see a yellow. Make him run me down. Do not give him the free pass. But, almost contact there with Justin Malarkey. Looked like it was a little bit of contact. Almost sent Stephen Carey around on the backstretch. Great job by Stephen Carey to keep that thing underneath of him and keep this thing green.
What hard racing out here. Matt Upbrook looking for the first win of this season here for himself in that 16 as he guides that thing off of 4 with the lead here. He's going to have 4 to go this time. You see the driver's not giving any room to that wall, using every bit of this racetrack, trying to get the most out of it. 4 to go for the 16 of Matt Upbrook, and that time by Chris Merle, almost a whole 2/10 quicker. This is going to be a battle before this all ends up.
Well, you know what they say, it's one thing to catch somebody, it's another thing to pass him. He's going to have, looks like, the pace to be able to catch Matt Upbrook, but is he going to be able to set up the pass to do so? I think right now Matt Upbrook needs to worry about making sure he gets good exits for turns 2 and 4 for setting up these long straightaways. If he messes up, that is the one place that Chris Sproul is absolutely going to be able to make a boatload of time on him in cutting into that lead here. You cannot afford to give up time and check up on the exits to those two corners.
We're going to see here out of 4 this time. Going to be a 2-car battle as that back there, that 4-car pack there from third on back is starting to drop back. Smerol not electing to follow him for the draft. That time by there, about a 10.5 quicker. He's going to need more than that with 3 to go.
Yeah, Matt Upbrook did a really good job to kind of even out. Looks like Chris Smerol just a little bit better into turn 1 than what Matt Upbrook is right now. Gap down to half a second, almost even here. Matt Upbrook breaking that draft, going all the way to the bottom of the racetrack here to make sure he's not given any extra advantage to the 14. Down into 3 here. It looks like Smerol also widening out the corner a good bit. Almost a late apex there, setting up for a good exit speed out of turn 3. See what he does for turn 4. About even. And it looks like the run about the same coming out. Chris Smerol gonna have to lift a little bit.
Oh man, with 2 to go here, Sproul not going to be close enough, I believe. He's going to need some type of mistake as that gap opens up for Matt Upbrook out front here at Indy.
It's exactly like I talked about, coming out of turn 4, having to lift, cost you all that straightaway speed there, and that resulted in the gap now increasing from 4/10 now to 8/10 of a second. Last time by, Chris Smerol a 10th slower on lap time, and the gap continuing to grow. If there's no mistakes, one more solid lap from Matt Upbrook, then perfect race for him. Absolutely flawless. And we'll have to see as they are now coming through the short chute. 3 and 2 and yeah, a little bit of a mistake cost him some time, not a whole lot. Now coming out of turn 4, he just wants to see that white flag.
And here it is, coming out of 4, Sheffield Graphics white flag. One final time here for the ARCA Evolution Series. Matt Upbrook looking for that first win of the season. They're wrecking in the back Stephen Carey. I believe he's hardened to the inside wall. Oh man, he's actually brought the car to a complete stop, guys. Oh man, I don't know if something broke on that car. Because whoa.
That was the strangest thing. It just locked down and the wheel turned completely to the left. That is a full
That is
left
definitely
block.
some technical issues there for the 83. And look at this. I don't know how the 73 and the 81 did not get in this.
Yeah, Jeff Carson came over the radio. He was like, "What was that? I need some new underwear."
Something broke there, guys. Definitely in that 83. As out of 4 this time, Matt Upbrook. He's going to do it coming out of 4. Oh, Smerol hits the wall and flips, guys.
Oh,
He's on his roof. Matt Upbrook crosses the line. He is your winner here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. David Edwards going to cross for second, and third is going to go to Justin Malarkey.
And Chris Smerol trying to limp it across for 5th place. Going to be able to do that just barely. Justin Hendry coming home 6th there. And Brandon Perry Newcomer, 7th position on the day. And Bob Fitzpatrick Sr. up 9 spots for a top 10. So a great run for the 48 as well. But Matt Upbrook finally getting that win. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we're about to hear some happy teammates for these interviews.
That we are as Upbrook coming around. Gonna bring this thing back around to celebrate for his first win of the season. What a time to do it too here. 2 races before the playoffs kick off. We have Indy not Indy next. We're here at Indy right now. So we have Michigan next and Texas. So Michigan and Texas still left on the schedule here for the regular season. As there you see David Edwards, his teammate from Donkey Punch Racing, the 1-2 for those drivers. That could not be a better day here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for these two, as they're going to break it down here on the front straightaway. And Matt O'Brooks going to celebrate here for his first win of the season here at the ARCA Evolution Series, being your Sheffield Graphics race winner here tonight. And as he celebrates here on the front straightaway, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in a few moments as we gather these drivers here for our post-race interviews.
All right. Well, looks like we've got our top three drivers here today at Indy ready for their interviews. Go ahead and roll on in with third place, Justin Malarkey, and see if we can get a word about how the racing was out there and what he's feeling for his third place finish tonight. Hey, Justin, Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy, bud.
Hey, Brandon.
Well, Justin, congratulations, first of all, on that third place finish. But the first question I got to ask you, man, is uh, we saw the incident with Stephen Carey there at the end. What did that look like in the car? Because that just looked absolutely wild.
Um, oh yeah, running out of gas like that. Yeah, thankfully he pulled down to the left and really quick. At first, I thought he was just trying to block for the air, and then I'm like, oh, he's out of gas, and I'm like, that could have been Martin Truex, Cole Custer all over again.
Well, man, it was a great race for yourself, battling hard right around for the top five and fourth position there with yourself, Jeff Carson, and Stephen Carey. Pretty close racing out there toward the end. How bad were your guys' tires really beat up? It looked like a lot of guys were struggling for grip.
Yeah, we were all pretty much like 5 or 6 of us were running all right there in that pack. It was so hard to get to the inside. It's easy to hold that bottom, and you don't want to go around the outside. I did once, and then you kind of burn your stuff up. Yeah, the tires are slipping and sliding. Yeah, you lose any momentum, you're done for 20 seconds on the straightaway until you get to the next corner. So, yeah, it was tough.
Well, we go to I believe it's Michigan next week. Anything you think is going to transfer pretty well, being a similar, well, not super similar, but a 2 mile racetrack there. Talking about guys that just seem to have it down pretty good for these bigger racetracks. Are you feeling pretty confident about going there next week?
Yeah, you're right. They are kind of similar in a sense of the momentum. And Michigan, you'll get all the confidence in the world to pull underneath someone past them, and then you can't ride to the wall coming out of the corner, and then you lose that momentum, and then before you know it, 3 or 4 cars will end up on the outside, and you're stuck down on the middle, burning your stuff up. Yeah, it'll be that auto club tracks like this. They're really frustrating when you pull down there to pass, and then if you don't complete it, you're stuck, and that's the really frustrating part about it.
Well, Justin, before we let you go and celebrate this third place finish here tonight at Indy, anybody you want to say special thanks to?
Yeah, I'm sure my sister Jamie's out there hitting you up on the comments if she hasn't yet. Maybe she didn't watch yet. She might do it later. My brother Artie, my parents. Yeah, it's always fun. Shout out to you guys and Evolution Racing for putting on a good league. I like this ARCA league a lot.
Well, thank you, Justin, and we'll catch you next week at Michigan, man. Uh, catch you then.
It'll be fun.
All right, and that was Justin Malarkey bringing home a solid third place finish here tonight at Indy. And next we have points leader David Edwards going to be extending his points lead just a little bit. See what he has to say about that and how the race went overall for himself. Hey, David Edwards, bringing that up in the booth. You got a copy.
10-4, I got you, Brandon.
Well, Bud, was a little bit worried after seeing your practice crash there. Ended up on the inside of the front stretch wall there, but able to rectify those problems and bring home a solid second place finish here tonight with a pretty good pace. Man, how was the race for yourself?
It was a blast, man. Obviously, two fastest cars were Matt and Chris. I mean, they were in a league of their own tonight, so happy to sneak that one out there with Chris pushing a little hard at the end. So I can't complain.
Well, it was something we had questioned up here in the booth that you and Matt being teammates and Chris Merle, like you said, looking to be one of the top two cars. Uh, questioning whether you were going to battle him pretty hard to, give him maybe a little bit of time for Matt up in the lead there, and it looked like you kind of did. Exactly how hard were you willing to push it with Chris?
Teammates aside, I mean, me and Chris, I mean, we are the top two in points, so I couldn't just roll over, especially have him go win another one. I think it'd be like 34 for this year for him, the way it's going. So I had to run him hard and just to try to mitigate the points loss. So I even texted him on the side here and said, I don't know who else I could have got away with that much at Indy other than him racing like we did.
Well, you guys showing a lot of respect and a lot of courtesy out there as well. But like you said, you got to run them hard, but you ran them clean, and that's the way you got to do it, man. But finishing second, it's got to suck. But like you said, increasing that points lead now with that slight mistake there at the end by Chris Merle. But more importantly, man, Matt Upbrook, your teammate, gets his win. How are you feeling about that?
Oh man, I can't be more pumped from him. I mean, with our team here, I'm more pumped for them guys to win than I am myself. I mean, it's nice to have him blocked in. Pretty sure he was going to point in anyway, but just to get that win, get it over with, the excitement there, just I hope everybody can experience that.
Well, it was a blast to call, and I know not really supposed to pick favorites up here in the booth, but I'm sure all of us were really excited and really hoping that Matt was going to be able to close this one out here at the end, and luckily he did. So couldn't be more excited for you guys as a team. And man, going to Michigan next week, how are you feeling about that?
It should be a good one. Michigan's wide, Michigan's fun, a couple different lines, momentum, both ends of the track. So it should be a fun one.
We'll be looking forward to call it, man. And before we let you get off here and celebrate second place tonight and get ready to go to Michigan, anybody want to give shout out to?
First and foremost, my wife for letting me do this on Tuesday nights. Without her, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys. Everybody over at SJR and Donkey Punch Motorsports putting in the time. I think we had a couple sessions up this week just to try to iron out some issues that we had. So everybody at team, and can't thank Matt again. Thankful for him getting a win, and you guys putting this on every week. It's nice to have loyal and dedicated guys to have family and friends watch.
Well, couldn't do it without you guys down there on the track giving us something to call. So we thank you for that, David, and the whole league as well. And let you get out of here, man, and go celebrate this thing and catch you next week at Michigan.
10-4. Tell Robert maybe we can talk Matt into some candy cars next week.
He's definitely appreciate that one, bud. You have a good night.
Y'all too, man.
And second place, David Edwards, points leader, extending just a little bit, having a pretty good day. And now finally, going to be able to talk to our race winner, the 16 of Matt Upbrook. Matt Upbrook, it's Brandon up in the booth, bud. Do you have a copy?
I do indeed.
Matt, congratulations first, finally getting that win and doing it with pretty convincing fashion. Man, had a lot of speed the whole race. Looked like you fell off just a little bit right before the pit sequence was about to start. Man, how did this race go for you? Where did you find all this speed?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks. I love racing here. It's all about, trying to carry the speed off the corners, and I knew the car was fast. It did start falling off there in that first run. I kind of burnt tires up a bit, and that's why I tried to conserve a little bit more there at the end, just to have a little bit at the end, and it seemed to pay off.
Yeah, payoff it definitely did. Battled a little bit there with your teammate David Edwards. Know his teammates, you guys are going to give each other a little bit more room, but you still definitely don't want to just roll over for him. How was it battling your teammate, the points leader, and able to take that position away from him and then just kind of drive away?
Well, David's fast every week, so it's an honor to race with him, and it was tough. He was just a little bit off from me. I knew that I was a little bit quicker, and like you said, I knew he'd give me a little bit more room. So it was just finding the right time to get around him, and when I did, I had smooth sailing ahead of me.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch, and I was talking to David during his interview, man, and I said, we're not supposed to play favorites up here, but seeing you increase the pace each and every week and just not quite get the finishes you deserve, I know all of us up here were pulling for you to get this one, man, and really glad you did, and uh, I'm sure you're excited. And
I am, yeah.
talk about going. You just seem to be so good at these 2 mile tracks. We're going to Michigan next week. What momentum do you think you can carry there? Do you think that's going to be just as good for you?
I do. I like that track as well. That's another fun track. I think both myself and David and our other teammate Richard will all have speed there, and hopefully we can bring home a 1, 2, 3 next week. Richard had some issues with his computer before. That's lap one, so shout out to him. I wish he could have raced.
Oh man, it was a pleasure. Again, congratulations, absolutely on getting this win here tonight. Finally, well deserved. Finally able to put it all together, man. And looking forward to seeing you guys next week at Michigan, hopefully for that 1, 2, 3. But before we let you go tonight here at Indy, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
You bet. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for broadcasting. You guys do a great job. And shout out to my teammates, David and Richard. And hopefully, our big brothers can pull a win out over there in the slide job later on here.
All right, Matt, let you go celebrate this win, bud. Go have some fun, and we will catch you next week at Michigan.
All right, man. Thanks.
And that was your race winner here in Indianapolis, Matt Upbrook. Man, really fun race here tonight, Zach. I don't know. That's one of the better races I've ever seen in Indy.
Oh, it definitely was there, Brandon. I tell you what, good interviews there, buddy, too, man. You got some good questions. So everybody out there, give a round of applause for this man. Put him on the spot, and he performed very well. Let's just say that. Better than any question I would ask. So
Don't make me do it again.
maybe later we'll have to try it too. Maybe, I don't know. But we'll go ahead and bring out our race results here. Man, what a finish, like you said there, for Matt Upbrook, able to bring home the Sheffield Graphics race win here tonight. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a great finish for him. Second going to go to his teammate there, David Edwards, our points leader. Third is going to go to Justin Malarkey in that 73. Fourth is going to be Jeff Carson. Fifth is going to end up our pole setter. And second place man in points, Christopher Smroll, after a interesting finish off a 4 for him there on his roof almost. Sixth is going to go to Justin Hendry. Seventh is going to be Brandon Perry for his first run here in the ARCA Evolution Series. What a great job. That's a great debut for him. Cannot complain for him, that 21. Eighth is going to go to Bob Fitzpatrick Sr. Great run for him. Ninth is going to go to Harold Rothery. 10th is going to go to Steven Rasick in the 2. 11th is going to be Matthew Dude. 12th is going to end up being Stephen Carey in 83 after that wild issue there at the end for him. 13th is going to be Jake Cachet in the 77. 14th is going to be James Wright. 14th is going to be James Wright. And then 15th is going to be Zach Sandlin. 16th, Richard Gonzalez to round out your field here tonight at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the ARCA Evolution Series. Brandon, man, I tell you what, this has been a fantastic race here with these ARCA cars. I mean, Smroll alluded to it as our pole setter. He thought this combination was great. And I think it set up something good. And I tell you what, if this was good, I think the Cup cars could possibly be even better. I mean, we're going to see early in the phase of those runs really be critical tonight in this Cup Series. But, man, the ARCA Series tonight put on a show. The Cup Series has got a tall task ahead of them later.
Yeah, those guys in the Cup Series got a lot to live up to here, but I think we're going to see a lot more battling. Those cars can really run multiple lanes pretty well, set up a lot of different passing opportunities, and they're even more on the edge of control with the way that draft model works and the way that the aerodynamics work, as well as the tire model. So definitely going to be something to watch out for here within the next hour. Cannot wait for that. But again, man, such a great race. These ARCA guys should be really proud of the drive that they put on here tonight.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. We just got to put a huge spotlight there again on Matt Lopebrook for getting that win tonight, first of the season. He said in his interview there with you there at the end, Brandon, this track, it just seems like a track for him. And I can tell you what, it definitely was tonight, able to bring home that victory. And tell you what, Michigan next week, he said another 2 mile track should be pretty well for him. We'll have to see what he can do next week. But remember, do not miss that here live on Freaky Fast Broadcasting every Tuesdays live at 7:20 Eastern. We'll be here at the ARCA Evolution Series, but don't miss our Cup Series. We're here also with the RSR Cup Series at 9:20. So it's going to be wild. Man, we got about an hour till then, but make sure not to miss that, everybody. Let's send it up to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast here for the ARCA Evolution Series.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody out there who has tuned in and who has tuned in the future. Hopefully, you enjoyed the content here that we had here with the ARCA Evolution Racing League. It was a great race. I like Indy. Indy don't like me too much. As long story short is don't run out of gas coming out of four. You'll never make it to the start finish line. And you got friends that say they'll help you get there. They don't help you get there. Trust me. They leave you hang high. But hey, Matt finally got that win. Finally got that off his back, and he can finally say he's got a win here finally with these ARCA cars here with Evolution Racing League. But like Zach said there, we will be live, ladies and gentlemen, here at 9:20, less than an hour, for as these guys will be bringing out the Cup cars here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So hopefully we catch you at 9:20. But until then, we want to say up here in the booth at Freaky Fast, God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.